France and Russia agreeing to cooperate to fight ISIS. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, saying his country is now ready to coordinate its military action in Syria with the U.S.-led coalition. Joining me now is Fox News military and terrorism analyst Matt Graham. Matt, will that really happen? Because, again, you have Putin's interest in the Middle East is with Assad. He's tied with Iran. He's with Assad. Will he ever agree to do anything? And do we have to be careful if he agrees to do anything if it doesn't involve getting Assad out of power?
We have to be careful in everything we do. And what we're seeing here is the bearing out of politics makes for strange bedfellows. And the fight that is going on with radical Islam and with ISIS and ISIL and the offshoots of al-Qaeda show that this is based in a theology, not a political position. So it's going to transcend borders, and what we're seeing is that conflict between traditional nation states and now an ideology.
I want to bring up something in terms of what is the U.S. doing and what will we do in the months to come. You've had Robert Gates, former defense secretary, Leon Panetta, even Dianne Feinstein saying to this country, the U.S. underestimated ISIS. We need to do more. We should do more. We did have the president alongside Francois Hollande of France saying we will up the airstrikes. But beyond that, what are we going to do in the next year?
Well, what we are going to do and what we should do might be two totally divergent things. What we're seeing here with the failed foreign policy is a difference between an administrative reality and an operational reality. It's much like an architect and a builder. So an architect can draw plans on a sheet of paper, but a builder needs to be able to build what will physically work. And that's what we're seeing with this failed foreign policy. In an administrative reality, we can do airstrikes, we can have these big, grand ideas of utopia. And what we see in the operational reality is that's not working on the ground. So if we move towards a targeted killing platform, we've been using drone strikes. We can use special operations troops on the ground. We can use a multinational, an Arab and Western force to we know who we need to take out in order to be effective. So if we systematically work down that list through a series of airstrikes and limited special operations troops, clandestine activities, in order to take those individuals out.
Matt, good morning. It's Cheryl Casone. Then what's that number? What kind of number of on-the-ground troops do we need? Because obviously the generals are telling President Obama this isn't enough. We've got to go in further if we're going to defeat ISIS, who is going global. Let's be honest. What's the number of troops we need to put on the ground there?
Well, it's not a conventional force. So the numbers, really, it's not a conventional force. So we're not sending over airborne corps and in tanks. What we're sending in are specialists.
But how many of them then? I mean, 50 was,
well, it depends.
50 was a joke. 50 ops was a joke, and we wasted lives.
Yeah, 50 is a good start. So 50 trained special operations personnel exponentially can take out quite a few terrorists, regardless of where they are. What we need to do, though, is continue to move forward. If we have that first foot in the door of 50, then build on that. This is a non-conventional war, and we've not been fighting it as a non-conventional war. We're taking a conventional idea of what the president believes is happening, and it's not bearing fruit. So we need to shift it to and it's in that failed strategy. We have to be able to adapt to that because this fight is not a traditional fight.
Hey, Matt, it's Kevin. So my question is, we've got a U.S.-led coalition, which sounds funny because we're seeing Vladimir Putin start to have sway over there, as well as France's president, right? So here's the main question: is there a big reluctance to fly into Syria, to bomb Syria? We know where their caliphate is, but you're seeing even the UK have hesitance, and now people are starting to enact, okay, we'll bomb their areas in Iraq, but we won't go into Syria. What has been the reluctance, and when can we actually start bombing Syria and actually start making headway over in their caliphate?
Well, it's 3:45 here in Seattle. At about 3:46, we could start bombing if we really wanted to do it. So part of the issue with that is we're seeing the transcendence from a nation-state war to a theological war. And that's coming home to people. It's been known by the United States for a while. We are at war with radical jihadist Islam, not with a nation state. Radical jihadist Islam is creating the caliphate. So that should be our focus. Putin has been dealing with this with the Chechen separatists and with radical Islam out of Chechnya for decades. And now France is at the table. And so when they sit down together, and President Hollande did the sequence properly, he came to the United States, sat down with President Obama, had a discussion of these are the things on the surface, but these are the things under the surface, and then went to Russia and had that same conversation. Everybody's starting to see that a traditional response isn't going to work. We need unconventional, non-traditional ways to deal with this.
Matt,
and it makes it dirty.
Matt,
go ahead, Dagen.
No, thank you, Matt. Matt Graham, thank you for being here so early in the morning for us. Matt Graham on the fight against ISIS. Take care.
Have a good day.